Welcome to the Evil Ewok podcast, everybody. I am Zach, and I am alone tonight, as per usual on these Monday streams, but that's okay because I have you all with me. We've got a bit of news to talk about this week, a lot of talking points, as well as some release updates for Ahsoka, and even a little bit of Mandalorian Season 4, if you can believe that. So let's wait for people to trickle on in here. I know we're doing this later than usual, but it felt like when Kat and I streamed on Thursday, I believe we streamed later than usual, and viewership was better. So let me know if that works better for you guys, because we might just do that instead. But what's up, Stanley's and Serena? What's up, guys? We had Papaga Squill in here before, and Charlie and Fulcrum. What's up, man? Lord Zach. Yes, it is I. It is I. But let's get into it, shall we? Let me pull up the docket. The patented docket. I'll put the docket over here. So only 3 things on the itinerary today, and then we can have like free talk at the end, as we usually do. But let's get right into it. Is Star Wars losing the magic? It's the title of the stream, and it's based off of Qui-Gon Jinn himself. Well, Liam Neeson's own words. He believes that Star Wars is losing its magic. In fact, let's go see what he had to say. Let's read the direct quote. So, if you guys can see that, yep, okay. Liam Neeson thinks the Force is dwindling in the Star Wars universe. The actor who made a cameo appearance as his character Qui-Gon Jinn in Obi-Wan Kenobi last summer visited Watch What Happens Live on Thursday and revealed he doesn't want his own spin-off series because he thinks all the new projects are bogging down the franchise. First of all, before we continue, I don't think a Qui-Gon series would be very realistic, because Liam Neeson's like 70 years old. He's not playing he's not playing young Qui-Gon. He's not doing anything more than like voicing him or playing Force Ghost Qui-Gon. I just want to get that out there. So that's not really important. We all gather here to sacrifice on the altar of Lord Zach. Oh God, no, not yet. The Stanleys. We have to keep the religion going for a while before we go to human sacrifices. Itinerary. What is this? High school? It's college. Can't watch today, but hope everyone's doing well. No worries, Sal. Appreciate you hopping in. Yo, to answer your question, I think it all comes down to writing. So far, bad. So yes, if they can turn it around, then it won't lose the magic. I do agree to an extent. What's up, Shocky Edits? What is up, my friend? But anyway, let's continue on with the article. No, I'm not, Neeson said when asked if he was interested in returning one day. There's so many spin-offs of Star Wars, it's diluting to me, and it's taken away the mystery and the magic in a weird way. Still, Neeson acknowledged that it was nice to do the little bit with Ewan McGregor in Obi-Wan Kenobi, which took place more than 2 decades after the pair first shared the screen in George Lucas's 1999 film, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So, he doesn't want to do anything. We talked about that before. He doesn't want to reprise Qui-Gon, but then he contradicts himself later on. But he thinks there's too many spin-offs, and it's diluting it, and it's taking away the magic. That's basically what Liam Neeson believes. So let's break that down, because I have a lot to say about this, because I agree with him, but I don't completely agree with him. So let's see what you guys are saying. Don't cross my name. We can't sacrifice yet. It's also the fact the character Qui-Gon has become almost larger than life as Yoda. His cult following is 100% justified and in line with Lucas's vision. That is true. He's a fantastic character, and I think probably the best character, if we're honest, from the Phantom Menace. Maul was probably the most popular, but that's just because he looked cool. Qui-Gon is a fantastic character in a movie that has questionable writing, and yeah, Andor's restored my faith in Disney Star Wars, so I would actually have to say no, but most projects, yes. What are you talking about, the Force? You can call me Shock. I subbed a week ago. Thank you, Shock. Shock. I don't know which way to pronounce that, but if it's Shock like Shock T, or if it's Shack, just let me know. But I appreciate the subscription. Always great to get a new subscriber. We always appreciate it here. We sacrifice the unbelievers. You're goddamn right, Stanley's. It's having a bit of trouble tapping into its magical potential, like Spider-Man 2. They have a story block, or Once Upon a Time when Elsa's aunt messes up Emma's magic. The Stanley messes. Okay. I agree. in that obviously if you don't have peak quality of writing, it's going to not feel as magical. I think the big problem is the lack. Well, it's two parts. First of all, I think the big screen movies that we got, the sequel trilogy, I don't think those are up to par, and I think that really lost interest in Star Wars. Like a lot of people were just ready for those to end. And I remember, especially when The Rise of Skywalker was coming out, there was very little excitement surrounding that movie compared to previous entries. And that is never what you want from Star Wars. Um, I mean, you can even go back to the prequels. The prequels had way more excitement because I think this is arguable. I think until Revenge of the Sith, but the prequels got better with each entry. Um, there were things that got improved over the course of each movie, whereas the sequels got worse with each movie. Um, so excitement with even the prequels was elevating per entry. I think I know there was a lot of excitement for the Phantom Menace because it was the first Star Wars movie in like 15 years, but um, Revenge of the Sith like went out with a bang, and the sequels did not do that, and I think that hurt the perception of the quality of Star Wars. So I think that was an issue. Like when it was on the big screen, it wasn't that magical because of the quality. And then on a second point, I think that the fact that we haven't had a Star Wars movie in 3 years, and all we've had is these Disney Plus shows, it does hurt the magic feeling. Like I agree with Liam Neeson there because like Andor was phenomenal. Do not get me wrong, I love Andor. You guys know this, but it doesn't have the same awe-inspiring feeling as seeing a Star Wars movie on the big screen, seeing that title crawl, hearing the music. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have that same oomph to it, and that's what I'm missing most about Star Wars. That is a magical experience. Like say what you want about the movie, but going to see The Force Awakens was one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. Like you could feel the energy in the air. And we just haven't gotten that because we haven't gotten a Star Wars movie in 3 years. The big problem is Sid, filler episodes, and the sequels in that order. When I think of the word Jedi, I think of old Ben or Qui-Gon. I can't associate characters like Yoda with Jedi, only numb arrogance, even after confronting his failures. I agree. I think Yoda, if you only watch the movies, seems like a super super wise Jedi, and he is wise. Don't get me wrong, but I think what I love about the Clone Wars and like some of the novels and legends is that they peel back Yoda's wisdom and really you see the dogmatism in there. Like you see that he's caused the Jedi to get to this point. He has been a driving factor to why the Jedi are so complacent. So and I love. Don't get me wrong. Again, I keep saying don't get me wrong. But Yoda, somebody compared him to Dumbledore in streams past, and I think that's a good comparison because he's on the surface a very good character. Like you think of good guys, good Jedi, you think Yoda, but he has done a lot of bad in his past. Um, the other half is great. This is without Disney. I think part of the charm of the prequels deconstructs and contextualizes mysticism. Yeah, sequels are kind of underrated, but it got hyped too much. They're pretty bad. The thing that annoys me is that they swing a lightsaber with one hand. It looks like it's going to fly out of their hand. Yeah, the choreography was definitely nowhere near as good. The opening crawl is so key. Yeah, and I mean, even movies like Rogue One, which didn't have an opening crawl, still felt magical to me. Uh, okay, my answer. I understand what Ra's al Ghul is talking about. I mean, the demon's head. I mean, Liam. Okay, love it all except the references I don't get. It's sad we don't get any action for Yoda in the originals. It's hard to do action with a puppet, though. I do understand what you mean, but Andor is just a different type of magic. That's writing. Yeah, I agree. It is probably the best written Star Wars content we've gotten since Empire Strikes Back. The writing was, it just felt so mature and so real. It felt like it belonged next to shows like House of the Dragon and like Better Call Saul. Like it was closer to that writing than it was to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's what I loved so much about it. And it was especially tough having to reflect on Obi-Wan uh, while watching Andor because we should have had better writing for Obi-Wan. um, but yes, I agree with Liam Neeson on that part about how the shows are kind of diluting the magic, and I would hesitate to use the word dilute because I don't think they're negatively impacting Star Wars. I just don't think we're getting the highest of highs, if you will, Because on the other hand, I think that when the shows are done well, I think it's definitely a boon to Star Wars. Could you imagine if we didn't have any of the shows? Star Wars would be worse off than it was when it was just between like 2008 and 2015, where it was just the Clone Wars pretty much. We'd be worse off than that. We'd have nothing. We'd have the Bad Batch, I guess. That's what I was about to say. I couldn't even make something close. What are your opinions on Obi-Wan series? So that is a I feel like we talk about this every other stream because I was so Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series, let me get out in front of it. Before that came out, it was probably the most my most anticipated like piece of Star Wars content that had come out probably since The Force Awakens. I was so excited for the Obi-Wan series because I'm 26 years old. I was a kid when the prequels came out. So to see Ewan McGregor back in the role, to see Hayden Christensen, and then I love Darth Vader. Darth Vader is my favorite character ever. To see Darth Vader, it's like sign me the F up, right? So I was so excited. And I think during when it first came out, I liked it more than I do now because I wanted to like it. I wanted so badly for the show to be amazing, and looking back on it, it just wasn't amazing. It had some good moments, but I think those good moments were not because of the show, but they were because of what came before, because of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship that we see in the prequels, in the Clone Wars. It's because of those things that those moments in Kenobi were amazing. It's not because of the show setting up those moments itself. Like everything the show set up wasn't that great. Like Riva could have been done a lot better. Young Leia probably shouldn't have been done at all. I don't feel like we needed to go in that direction. Um, the Inquisitors pretty much useless. They didn't do anything. This it's so I think that from a story perspective, I was very let down. Specifically, the writing. It felt too much like a kids show in terms of the writing, like hiding Leia in the cloak. And then in terms of set design, I think everything just didn't look as good as it should have, which makes me sad. But let's get back to the topic at hand. Uh, let's see. My take on the magic, it all circles back to tone and the context of the universe. They can hire as many writers that understand the verse all they want. At the end of the day, they have quotas. Yeah, and I mean, you don't even need someone that understands it as not Rogue One, as Andor showed. Tony Gilroy is very clear that he's not a big Star Wars fan, and yet he delivered some of the best Star Wars content we'd have in years. You just need someone who's a good writer, who can tell a good story, who knows how to craft characters, and then you just surround them with people who know the universe to make things consistent. And I'm pretty sure that's what they did with Andor, and it worked beautifully. Andor's magic, it's like Doctor Strange's, and the sequels are like Ned's magic. I love that. I love that analogy. I'm excited for the Ahsoka series. Yes, we're going to talk about that in a bit. They might have been shadowing it in season 1 and going to bring the action in season 2 if there is one. I don't think there will be, because I just don't like. What would you do with a Kenobi season 2? It's possible. You could certainly do something, but I've like again, we'd be on Tatooine. Everybody's sick of Tatooine, so I'm not. I thought in the immediate aftermath of the show that there would be a season 2. I've cooled off on that. I don't think there will be. That doesn't mean we won't see Ewan McGregor in the role of Obi-Wan again, because he's hinted at it numerous times since then. Like he said how much he'd love to do more, and love to play Obi-Wan. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Obi-Wan again, whether that's in a different show or in his own show. We'll see. But yeah, I don't think there'll be a season 2 for Obi-Wan. Literally just Ewan McGregor working in a meat factory. I would have taken more, which is a good point, Serena. I would have taken more just mundane life of Obi-Wan for like there were only 6 episodes, so they had to get the plot going, I guess. But I really wanted more episodes seeing Obi-Wan in his mundane life, and then seeing his trauma, just exploring that a bit more and digging into that. Like I wanted a character study, and I didn't feel like we really got that. It was just more of like a wild goose chase than a character study, which was a little disappointing. Introduce Ashrad Het in Obi season 2 for sure. That's definitely a thing they could do. that's probably the only thing I would want to see. Because if they're gonna do this cat and mouse game with Vader again, which I don't think you could do, like you can't do that. You can't bring Maul into it really. So just do the Asherah Het thing. I think that'd be great. I think the best way they could do a Qui-Gon show is disguise it as a Yoda show and have Qui-Gon being his mentor, forcing him to confront his worst aspects and failures on Dagobah. I don't know if you could do a whole show about that. You could. I'm gonna pitch this idea because I think it's a fun idea, and it's kind of what I wanted the Bad Batch to be. I think if you take a show, um, and you just call it the Dark Times, and it could be live action, it could be animated. I don't care. And you just it's an anthology show. So every episode it's different characters maybe. It's like the Clone Wars where you can go to see Yoda on Dagobah and him being mentored by Qui-Gon. You could definitely do that. You could go to Tatooine and have Obi-Wan being mentored by Qui-Gon. You could go and you could see what's happening on Ryloth. You could go and see what Vader's up to. You could go and see what Rex is doing, what Ahsoka's doing. You could follow um, young Moff Gideon. You could follow freaking um, Krennic. There's so many characters. You could create new characters and follow them. Follow more Jedi that are on the run. Like you know what I mean? I think that'd be such a good way to flesh out the time period between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, where we're not just confined to following the Bad Batch. That's something I'd really love to see, and I'd be really sick if it were live action. Andor has really opened up my eyes to what's important for a good story, and I've realized that I'm honestly getting kind of tired of everything being about the Skywalkers and nostalgia cameos. Yep, you couldn't have said it better. Um, Cameos are too Marvel-y for me. Like I come to when I see a Marvel movie now or a Marvel show, I come to expect like I can feel it in my head. Like, oh, is so and so gonna pop up, or like what character's gonna show up now? And it's like they're trying to like distract you with their right hand while they're telling a not as great story with their left hand. That's what I feel like cameos are doing. Like they're making up for bad storytelling because it's just like little bursts of excitement, little bursts of dopamine that get you going like, oh man, I love that character, I can't believe they're here, this is so great. But then when you look back on it, you're like, oh man, the story wasn't actually that great. It kind of like the Multiverse of Madness that had a lot of that in it. It was a very average movie, but people were really excited not because of the story it was telling, but because of all the characters showing up, like Charles Xavier and Mr. Fantastic and whatever. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I don't want Star Wars to turn into. I love to see a bit of the mundane life and trauma, but I don't think there'd be enough for another season. Yeah, because like that is 100% correct because they already like skipped past all of it. So you can't really do that with season 2. You'd have to do something else because he's already recommitted to the Jedi way of life. Um, you needed to do that at the beginning of season 1, and they kind of did it. They did it a little bit, but I wanted more. He wasn't the Jedi he should have been. I want more. I will never say no to my high ground hype. Just have him training and becoming a Force ghost and beat up Tuskens. Yep. Should do that to stay in shape. Yes. Like and then you can have that run in with Kersantin and whatnot. Like there's stuff he could do. It's just like I really don't want to see Tatooine again. And they got past probably the most interesting bit of character development that I was interested with Obi-Wan between the two movies. You might be onto something, ADHD. The Dark Times is one of the pinnacle comic eras of Star Wars Legends. There's a lot they can do with Vader and Force duels in that format. Yeah, and I've had this idea for a long time. I love a show where it's like every week it's a new Jedi survivor, and you get to know them and you get to like them, and at the end Vader shows up and kills them. Like it's like or Inquisitors show up and kill them. I think that would be interesting. It'd be heartbreaking. You'd get your heart broken like every week. But it'd be an interesting twist on like a procedural, like an FBI show, or instead of like solving cases, it's just Jedi trying to survive and then failing to survive. I get really interested in Geonosis. We should get more action in it. The species are just interesting and just different. The technology is different. Yeah, Geonosis was very creative. I remember in the old Battlefront games, I hated playing on Geonosis because, well, I loved and hated it. I hated it because I'd play as the clones a lot, and all the Geonosian like turrets and cannons and weapons would just like wreck you. Like you couldn't really dodge them. You'd just be running down the freaking battlefield and you just get blasted. But yeah, Geonosis super cool. They actually all got exterminated. I don't know if you've seen Rebels, but they absolutely got exterminated because They were used basically, I believe, as slave labor to help build the Death Star, and they're pretty much all dead, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, I do like in summation. We got a little off topic there, but I think that the Star Wars shows aren't a bad thing, and especially if they can continue to deliver good content, like I think The Mandalorian has been, and I think that Andor is probably the best content, and then Book of Boba and Obi-Wan were pretty subpar. But if they can deliver quality content, I think the shows are fine. I think the shows should exist. I have no problem with them. I'm happy to watch them. Um, but just give us movies, and that's where I stand on it. I think Qui-Gon, I think Liam Neeson. I think Liam Neeson is right, but I think he's wrong. And he's got he's got good points, he's got bad points, but ultimately we know that this man is kind of inconsistent with what he says. He said that he didn't want to come back for Star Wars. He said that he wasn't going to do it, and then he came back to play Qui-Gon in the Obi-Wan show, and then he came back to voice him in Tales of the Jedi. So do I think that this means we'll never see Liam Neeson play Qui-Gon again? No. But I do think he's got some validity when he says that Star Wars doesn't have the same magic that it used to, just because there haven't been any movies. You have to go. Love your vids. Bye. Yeah, thanks for showing up, Shock. Geonosins knew too much. Never mind. So you're staying. But let's move on to the next topic. Ahsoka release date update. So Rosario Dawson was interviewed. Let me find the right article because I have a few. She was interviewed by, let's see, Hoda and Jenna. I think it's like a daytime show that I don't really watch because they kind of annoy me. But during an interview on Today with Hoda and Jenna, Ahsoka star Rosario Dawson revealed a likely premiere date window for the upcoming Disney Plus series. Dawson explained that the show is probably going to come out in the fall. So she said, Ahsoka, that's going to probably come out in the fall. We're going to have Haunted Mansion coming out in August. This has been recently pushed up to late July, if any of you care, first. So in the fall, which makes sense to me, because Mandalorian's going to air probably until maybe late May or June, I believe. So then you're going to have a few months without any live action stuff. But then we're going to get Ahsoka, and I think Skeleton Crew comes out later as well. So it's good to know that we're going to get Ahsoka at a certain point this year. Fall, not too far away. Just a few months. Probably like, what is it, February? So probably like 8 months. So are you guys excited for Ahsoka? Because this is a show that I feel like beyond knowing that Thrawn is probably going to be the antagonist and that they're going to be looking for Ezra, I feel like we don't know much about it at all. We know that Sabine's going to be in it, and we know that that's pretty much all we know. So there's a lot of different avenues that the show can go in, and I don't love talking about the show just because I don't really know what to talk about until we get a trailer, which hopefully we get at some point. But judging off of Lucasfilm's track record with releasing trailers, it'll probably be a while. Maybe we'll get something at Celebration. Maybe they'll get something at Celebration, but we won't get to see it because they do that a lot. They did that at the last Celebration. They showed something for Ahsoka at the last Celebration, but I didn't get to see it even though I was there. I'm not going to lie. I think Ahsoka is the worst thing that happened to Star Wars. That is a very hot take. I like Ahsoka. I really do. She's one of my favorite characters, so I definitely disagree with you there. Rosario Dawson is amazing. I'd also love to see Denzel Washington in Star Wars. I'd love to see him in Star Wars. That I don't know what he would play, but I didn't. If you had asked me what Samuel L. Jackson would have played, I would have had no idea back in like 2000 or 1999. But because when you think of like Samuel L. Jackson, you think like loud, he yells, and he's very intense. You don't think of Mace Windu. I actually think he did a good job with Mace Windu because Mace Windu is like the opposite of every Samuel L. Jackson character we've ever gotten. He's very cool and calm, and he doesn't yell. He's like the opposite. So I thought he actually did well with Mace Windu. Well, not her, but the Clone Wars specifically. Again, I love the Clone Wars. I disagree with you. Most of the Rebels cast are going to appear. Hell yeah. This will be good because Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's baby. I hope it'll be good. I really couldn't take it if Ahsoka was bad. Hera would be great to see. Also, seeing the rebels actually rebuilding would be cool to see. Actually, rebelling would be cool to see. Yeah, I love Hera. Hera was one of my favorite characters in Star Wars Rebels. I'll let you know if we get something at Celebration. Do it, Charlie. I'll make emojis fall. Yeah, they added a lot of new emojis that can fall. So we'll do we have a thing at the end where everybody just rains emojis on me, and we're gonna do that. I have the Tarkin video of him saying you may fire when ready, so we'll use that this time as well. I genuinely hope the show gets canceled. I think Ahsoka is part of the problem with Star Wars revisionism. I can understand not liking like wedging her in there as Anakin's Padawan when she's never mentioned in the movies, but honestly, I think it's fine. Like I liked it. I think her development is pretty incredible. Like going from this annoying 14-year-old that nobody really liked into one of the most widely beloved characters in Star Wars. I think that's very impressive. So I understand you not liking it because she was never mentioned in any of the movies, but that happens in storytelling a lot. Even when you come out with like a sequel and then there are new characters that were never mentioned in the first one but are pretty important. Like it happens. It happens in prequels too. So it's not the cleanest like form of storytelling. I get that, but I love Ahsoka. I don't think anything would change that. I'm not sure if he'd want to, but I would just love if Tony Gilroy made a Star Wars movie, a movie with zero relation to any other project. I'd love it. I would love it, Fulcrum. We should make the Church of Tony Gilroy because he delivered with Andor. He absolutely delivered. I would explain in detail why Ahsoka's garbage for Star Wars, but I'm limited by 200 words, which isn't enough for me. Fair enough, man. Apart means separated from. So technically, you're right. What are you referring to? I say a lot of things, so I've kind of forgotten about it. But yeah, Ahsoka in the fall. It seems like most of you are excited for it, and Pepika Squill is not. So that's it. Like honestly, dude, like kudos to you because everybody loves Ahsoka, and that's a pretty hot take to stand by. So I respect that. Star Wars losing its magic. Some people felt a personal disconnect from the franchise when Disney made the extended universe Legends. Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. I do partially disagree with that move. I think Legends has some phenomenal stories. I think it was a bit cluttered, but I don't think that means you have to get rid of everything. So I don't agree with that move. And it definitely alienated a lot of people, especially people who grew up in that time period in like the late 80s to basically all the 90s where there were no Star Wars movies coming out. And it was just novels and comics. And all you had was what is now called Legends. That's all you had. And it's definitely tough for people to be told that their childhood is no longer canon. So I get that 100%. Her not being mentioned in the movies isn't my issue. It's actually has a lot to do with canonicity, scaling, and Legends. The Clone Wars being meshed together pre-Disney. Gotcha. You can leave a message in the comment section afterwards. Yeah, definitely you can do that, and I'll read it. Charlie, how dare you bring up my heart rate like that? Saturday was my grandma's birthday. Went to her house and ended up explaining the entire series of The Walking Dead, so it's all the surface. I'm almost done with it. I'm like halfway through the last season. Not sure if anybody else loves Matt Reeves' The Batman, but something I love about that movie and Andor is that they both are just genuinely good pieces of entertainment that are also Batman and Star Wars. Yeah, I do think there's definitely a similar vibe with those movies because they feel so real to the point where you're forgetting that you're watching a Batman movie. You're forgetting that you're watching Star Wars. Like Andor could have been it's just such a human story and all the characters feel human. They don't feel like these larger than life characters. They just feel like people who are trying to rebel against a fascist organization. And Batman felt like you were in a just this dark city that's rife with crime, and and it's just this vigilante who happens to be Batman cleaning up the streets and fighting a very realistic villain. So I totally agree. Star Wars is better than Marvel. Also, do you play FNAF? What is FNAF? I can't just type it out. I don't know what's going on. I'll probably know when you spell it out. I'm bad with anagrams. Paprika School's POV is technically correct because Ahsoka is far removed from the problems of people's perspective of the split in fandom. Negan was the real hero, might even say savior. Got to meet him. There could be a reason why he can do no wrong. Yeah, I know you mentioned this last week. I'd love to see that man in Star Wars. Make it happen, Lucasfilm. Right. So let's get to the Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, no, I've never played that. TY. It seems like a lot of people enjoy it though, and it's a fun concept. I've never played it. I play in terms of games that are similar-ish. I played a lot of Phasmophobia with my friends. I love that. I think it's really fun. Right now I'm playing like Age of Empires 4, Age of Mythology. Age of Mythology is one of my favorite games of all time. And yeah, I haven't picked up Hogwarts Legacy yet. I'll probably play that at some point. Maybe once it gets cheaper. But yeah, I do like the occasional game. Just I haven't played Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's get to the last topic, Mandalorian season 4. So I have another article to go along with that. I come prepared, you know. So there's not much here. It's just something that I want to tie this to the sequels. But speaking with French entertainment news program BFM TV, the Mandalorian creator and showrunner Jon Favreau hinted at where they stand with season 4 of his flagship Star Wars series. With season 3 looming on the horizon, Favreau noted that he's written season 4 already, adding that he did much of the work on the 4th season during post-production of the 3rd. And the full quote is season 4, yeah, I've written it already. We have to know where we are going to tell a fully formed story. Cough, cough, sequels, cough, cough. So we had it mapped out, Dave Filoni and I. And then slowly you just write each episode. So I was writing it during post-production because all of it has to feel like a continuation and one full story. Obviously, I don't understand why you would ever start writing a story if you don't like generally know where things are going to go. Like you don't have to know every detail. You don't even have to know half the details. But it's important to know the direction that you're going. And I don't think they did with the sequels. And then he's doing Ahsoka, Dave Filoni, that is, which I'm in production with him. But he's the writer and showrunner on that. And so to understand what's happening on other shows or even Skeleton Crew, they all take place on the same Star Wars time period. So there's a lot more things that we have to keep in mind and stuff that we've built up from previous seasons of The Mandalorian as well. So I think an interesting bit of new, like tidbit information from here is that he goes out of his way to mention Ahsoka and it mentions Skeleton Crew and that they all take place in the same Star Wars time period. So we've already seen. Let me just close this. We've already seen Ahsoka and Din Djarin crossover, so it doesn't surprise me, and I think this confirms it that we're going to be seeing more crossover. Characters crossover. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see Din Djarin and Ahsoka, or if we see Ahsoka show up in Mandalorian season 4. A Skeleton Crew, I don't really know what to expect, but I hope that it's not the kids that cross over in a Mandalorian. I would hate that, but if it's if it's like Jude Law, that would be cool, or something like that. So it seems like this confirms that that they're going to be doing a lot of crossover stuff. And honestly, it's kind of where it's been trending. I mean, Din was in Book of Boba Fett. Hell, Din had like 2 episodes about him in Book of Boba Fett. You should stream that. You gaming. I thought about it a lot. I don't know if I'd want to do it on this channel because I don't know how that would affect the algorithm because YouTube is weird and sometimes if you make a certain type of content, it doesn't get a lot of views and it can hurt your other types of content. So I don't know if we'd end up streaming on this channel or if I'd stream it on like a new channel, but I think that if that's something you guys would be interested in, I wouldn't mind doing. Still waiting for AD Gaming. Zach, have you ever played No Man's Sky? I recently got into it and it's incredible. Basically what I want from a Star Wars game where you can, No Man's Sky, I remember when it first came out, I was like super interested in it and then it was bad when it first released, but I've heard that it's since been just like rehabilitated into an amazing game. I think I played it at my friend's house for like, I don't know, 20 minutes, but it was fun. I do love the concept, and I'd love to have a Star Wars game like that. I would love it. I would love it. I would love it. Negan was a broken man that did terrible things. Then the best character, Carol, let him out of jail and tries to be a good person, all around a great character. Couldn't agree more. ADHD, I don't mean to detract from your stream, but I could leave a brief paragraph to the Ahsoka conundrum if you want. me to message you on Discord. Yeah, you could do that. You could leave it in any of the Star Wars discussion. Leave it in Star Wars discussion, and I'll respond to you after this stream for sure. Sorry, I got cut off. But you can fly around the galaxy, and it's been improved 100%. By the way, yeah, that's what I've heard. I'd sub to that channel. Just say, clever girl. The Star Wars Fallen Order sequel is around the corner. Yes, it is, and I will be playing that. It looks pretty good. Okay, bye. I have to go this time. No, never mind. All right, Jacques. Thanks for tuning in. Send a message to Skywalker's Academy on Discord. For the squill. Okay. Yeah. If you're, by the way, I always forget to do this on the streams, but if you're in here, please like the stream. It helps us out a lot. I always forget to plug my own stream, but it would mean a lot if you would like the stream. So there, my YouTube duties are done. I could do the whole like smash that like button and subscribe. Mollywop that like button. I could just act more like a YouTuber if you guys would be into that. Like I could start my stream with, "Hey guys, it's Zach back at it again with some Star Wars content." I would sub as well. Yes, do a gaming live stream. Can't play Jedi Survivor since I only have a PS4, so I'd like to see someone I follow play it. Yeah, maybe I will do that. I think Alex wants to do that too, but you guys are gonna have to decide who you'd rather see. Would you rather see me game or Alex game? Cast your votes in the comments below. There can only be one. I would stay on the Discord, but I'm afraid if I do, I'll be corrupted by Disney stands and the universe will implode on itself. Our Discord, I like to think our Discord isn't Disney stan heavy, and it's also not like Star Wars hater heavy. You know the types. I think it's just like this community where it's very much a collection of people who just want to see good Star Wars, and some of the people like some people like the Star Wars content that comes out, some people don't, and we don't judge you for your opinion at all. Like someone could say that they hate Andor, and I disagree with that, but I'm not gonna bully you for it or criticize you. Like that never makes sense to me. It's someone's opinion. Like an opinion can't be wrong unless you're saying like the earth is flat, which is, scientifically proven to be to be wrong. I guess you could be wrong there, but like in terms of thinking a show is good or bad, like you can't be wrong. We can disagree and we can have discourse about that. We can have a conversation. Like we can have a conversation about you not liking Ahsoka. Like I love Ahsoka, you don't like Ahsoka. That's fine. Like I'm not gonna judge you. Like it's totally your opinion. It's whatever, man. If this video gets 1,000 likes, I will get cosmetic surgery to look just like Watto. Go full Wookiee on that like button. I would rather watch you play it because Alex can't do a good Watto voice. Yeah, that's true. What is he good for? All he can do is make really cool edits, right? Obviously, a Watto impersonation is a much more valuable tool to have in your toolbox. It will take a great deal of restraint if someone said they loved Sid. Just kidding, of course. Yeah, if you love Sid, then you're wrong. But I've yet to encounter someone who loves Sid. Yeah, but I want to judge people because it will make me feel better about myself. whatever works for you, man. Watto plays zombies. Just saying. I have played a lot of COD Zombies. It's actually the only reason that I own like Black Ops 2 through 4. It was to play zombies. I played a lot of Black Ops 3 Zombies. Alex is only good for trailers. All he does is make fantastic edits. But other than that, not much. Thoughts on Tales of the Jedi? Tales of the Jedi was I loved the Dooku episodes. I really thought that was much needed character development for Count Dooku because one of my biggest critiques about the Clone Wars was that Dooku was a very flat villain. He was just a bad guy. And I think that was definitely in stark contrast to the nuanced portrayal that Christopher Lee gave in the prequels of Count Dooku. I thought Count Dooku in limited screen time seemed a lot more nuanced and a lot more layered than the Clone Wars depicted him to be. And I wanted that Dooku. And I think Tales of the Jedi did an incredible job showing what led to his fall. And it was super well done in that, like, you can see that he has some good ideas and he wanted to do the right thing, but he just got too caught up in his own, I don't know, like lust for power, like typical Sith stuff. The dark side corrupted him basically, but I thought that it was very well done on that front. The Ahsoka episodes, I don't think were necessary. I think that The baby Ahsoka episode, like it was cute, like it was fine, but I did we need it? No. Um, and then the episode where she's basically training with Anakin and it's a big training montage. I felt like they just used that to answer the question like how the hell did Ahsoka survive Order 66? Like that's insane. Like she did some insane stuff to survive Order 66, but that just felt like a direct response to that. But I never really needed a response to that because I always just assumed it was because she was awesome and she was Anakin's Padawan and he taught her. So it never really like that was never something that I took umbrage with. So that didn't really feel necessary. And then the final Ahsoka episode, which was basically like the spark notes of the Ahsoka novel, felt really hurried and rushed. Honestly, they could have just made 3 Ahsoka episodes about the Ahsoka novel, the events of the Ahsoka novel. I think it would have worked better. Um, that's what I would have done. Or I would have not made any Ahsoka episodes. Like I said it early in the stream. I love Ahsoka. She's one of my favorite characters. I don't think we needed to see her in Tales of the Jedi. I would have liked to see like 3 episodes of Plo Koon or 3 episodes of Kit Fisto or 3 episodes of Ayla Secura. Just some other Jedi. Like it didn't have to be Ahsoka. I'm Toydarian. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only money. God, it's been a while since I've done that. It's not a good feeling on the throat, on the old voice box, if I'm honest. But it's what puts butts in seats. This is off topic, but I've been wondering when are we getting a gallery episode for Andor? You're right. You're right. Like, why haven't we gotten that by now? Usually they get them out like a month after release or something. Ditto, I need more young Dooku, Kevin Kiner pulling on your heart. Totally. 3 episodes of young Jocasta. Sure, why not? I opened up on the Toydarian impression. Well, you're pretty lucky, Barbs, because I don't dust that off too often anymore. I used to do it a lot more in the early days of the channel. But I can do more Wado if that's what you want. Or 3 episodes of Yaddle. Yaddle was pretty good in what little we saw of her. And I like that they answered why we never saw Yaddle again after the Phantom Menace. It's because Dooku killed her. So yeah, like Yaddle's cool. There's a lot of Jedi that they could do stuff with. And Imagundi, Imagundi. I don't know why I have like this irrational love for Imagundi. I think he's incredible. I loved his episode. Um, Let's make the end memorable, or like he's such a great character, and he dies in one of the coolest last stand scenes in Star Wars. I love Imagundi. I'd love to see more of him. Like the one gallery I really want to watch, and they don't make it. It's not fair. I'll be real with you guys. I haven't watched a single one of the galleries. I don't know why. I just don't like watching behind the scenes stuff. I don't know why. I think it's because I want to keep the illusion of this is like a real thing, and I don't want the illusion to be broken. Even though I have a film degree and I know damn well that all of this is fake, and I can't. I actively think about how it's fake when I'm watching the movie. I'm just weird, man. I'm weird. Completely agree. If anything, I wish they showcased Dooku's transition to the dark side further. Maybe they thought Dooku alone wouldn't pull a crowd. Yeah, I would go there, Connor. I think that's exactly what it was. I think that they packaged the Ahsoka episodes in with the Dooku episodes because they had an actual story to tell with the Dooku stuff, but the Ahsoka stuff was like advertisement and like, oh, you love Ahsoka, come watch this. And it was definitely like an advertisement. 3 episodes of Jedi Bob, absolutely. Jedi Bob, always in our hearts. But yeah, that's basically everything I've got today on the docket. Now we can just we can shoot the shit, so to speak, if you guys want. I've got about 15 minutes or so before I got to get out of here. Let's see here. Weird is cooler than normal. However, get on that gallery. Yeah, I might watch the Obi-Wan gallery just to. I don't know if it would make me angry, or it'll probably make me angry and happy. Like I love seeing Ewan and Hayden talk about Star Wars, so I'd probably enjoy that. But in terms of some of the decisions they made on that show, in terms of writing, in terms of music, in terms of set design, I just wish it could have been better. Only thing that helped me get over my intense fear of scary stuff was to think about all the camera angles and stuff to remember that's just fiction. Yeah, so horror as someone who has a film degree, like I even took like a horror film class in college. horror is almost completely ruined for me now. Like like I've studied horror so much that like I know all the tropes, like I know like all the moments where they're going to try to jump scare you, and it's now to the point where it's like genuinely shocking to me if I get jump scared. Um and honestly, my favorite horror movies aren't like the super scary ones. They're like the really well done, uncomfortable ones that that uh that just set up this eerie atmosphere. Like my favorite horror movie of all time is Hereditary. I love that movie. I think it's so well done, and it's not really that scary. It's just weird and uncomfortable, and there's just building tension throughout the movie. And I think that's like amazing. I love that movie. I can't like movies like The Conjuring. Like I used to love The Conjuring. I still think it's a solid horror movie, but it's there's too many jump scares in it. It's just not scary to me because I know like how these movies are made, and I know when they're gonna try to scare you. I actually do want something from the High Republic. Yeah, I agree, Barbs. I think that I've said this before, but the High Republic, while it may not have like the best quality Star Wars you've ever seen, I appreciate that it went to a different era and it tried to do something different. I appreciate the hell out of that. And yet people just want to make fun of the talking rock. Like that's all. Like whenever you talk about the High Republic, people are like, "Oh, Geode, ha ha ha! What a stupid character." It's like he was never meant to be a serious character. He's literally a joke in the books. Like it's not like he's the main character and he has a character arc. He's literally used as a joke in the books. I really just want to hear Stellan talking about Andor. He wasn't in the press junket for the show, and I'd love to hear if he enjoyed making the show as much as I loved his performance. Yeah, I agree. He had one of the best performances I think I've seen in Star Wars in a while, and he was barely in it. Will you be having other co-hosts and guests? Yeah, so I usually am on with Catherine LaSalle and Alex, who's AD edits. Um, they're my normal like co-hosts. I just on Mondays I stream by myself, but we stream together before Bad Batch comes out, like an hour before Bad Batch, which is tomorrow night, like midnight. We go live like 11 my time. So like whatever time Bad Batch drops for you, we're live an hour before that. And we also go live on Thursday nights for the Evil Ewok podcast. And yeah, so usually I stream with them, and sometimes we have people on. Like we've had Star Wars Meg on before, we've had X-Wing on before, we've had Drunk 3PO on, we've had Jedi Bunny on. She's great. We've had Ray Connects on. We've had the Bucketheads guys on. We've had a lot of people on, and it's really good time. What would you do if you were hired as a replacement for Kathleen Kennedy? What's your next phase of Star Wars? That's a great question, Andrew. I would probably either do one of two things, and they'd both be in the Old Republic because I love the Old Republic. I think it's something that Disney needs to carefully carefully consider um, doing. But I would using Legends material, I would make a Revan trilogy or a Darth Bane trilogy, and I would heavily base it off of pre-existing content. I would try not to do too much original see what I don't like when Disney does or Lucasfilm does nowadays is when they take a story that Legends already did and they retell it, but they change things for no reason. Like I wouldn't change things for no reason, but that's what I would do. I would do Old Republic, and I would try to keep it as faithful to the Legends material as I could possibly make it. Yeah, Hereditary messed me up for like 6 months. It's a creepy movie. It's definitely a creepy movie. Dude, just watch when Hayden and Ewan see each other. Amazing to see them training together again and pulling jokes. Yeah, I'll probably watch it. Wait, what, holy awesome, Zach! I didn't know you got a horror degree. I don't have a horror degree. I took a horror class. I have a film degree, which is not a super useful degree to have. Fun fact: Geode is life. I like Geode. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. I think that it was an entertaining little like gag in the books. Geoda's hilarious. He just does things and there's explanation to how he does them. Yeah, right. Like it doesn't matter. It's not that big. It's not that deep. Like people get so pissed off at Geode and they mock him and they ridicule him. But it's like he's never meant to be more than a joke. So yeah. I want anything pre the Phantom Menace, so that forces them to do new stuff. Totally agree. The Cat and Zach show. Yeah, it's we do the Cat and Zach show sometimes because Alex has a spotty attendance record. Dale Edmund just become a member. Holy shit! Thanks, Dale. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. Anyone who genuinely likes Star Wars could probably make anything better than Kathleen Kennedy, as long as they don't rehash old stuff and push kid content. So obviously, like I've said before, that I don't think she should keep her job based off of her performance. Nothing against her. Like I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy. I just think like when you look at the cold hard facts and you look at the state Star Wars got to after the sequels, like that's not good. That's not what you want from one of the, if not the greatest film franchise of all time. Um, but I'm not there behind the scenes. I don't know if it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. I don't know if it's Bob Iger's fault. I don't know. But I think that Kathleen Kennedy has proven she's got an impressive resume producing films. So it's always confused me why the sequels turned out so poor. I'd love to find out someday if someone could have like a tell-all book. If Alex has a new Force body back, he's on with them. And yeah, once he can reform with the Force. Hello there, Dale. Lord Zach for president. I have to be 35 before I could be president. So you're gonna have to wait 9 years, and then you can elect me president. That's why I didn't love Tales of the Jedi. The Witch did the same thing. I need to watch The Witch. I've heard amazing things about it. I love. I think it's Robert Eggers who directed it. I really liked the what's it called, the Lighthouse. I thought that was a great movie. And Robert Eggers did both, I believe. He jumps into hyperspace and he has no limbs. I want a Geo trilogy. Yes, yes. At the Stanleys, you found this guy too. I'm very findable. The Witch, that's one from Netflix. I think The Witcher. She's not a creative producer. People blame her for creative decisions, and it's not all her. Yeah, I have heard that as well. Which is a horror movie set in early America. Yes. Yeah, I think you're talking about the same thing. I think it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is because Netflix takes stuff off all the time. But I do want to watch that movie. It looks super creepy. But we got about 8 minutes or so. So if you have any questions, throw them my way, and then we'll do the emoji rain, the final emoji rain crescendo, and then I'll get out of here. But what is a geode? So geode is like this navigator in a few of the High Republic novels, and he's basically described as like this giant rock, and he's a sentient being apparently, although we never, like, he doesn't talk, and he ends up like randomly in like spaces. Like nobody ever sees him move, but he does move, and it's like it's written as like a joke, like a funny gag. But there's a sect of this fandom who is hell bent on hating like pretty much anything Star Wars, and they've used Geode as a punching bag because they believe that he's like a, I don't know, like a serious character or something. Yeah, the end is very haunting. Sticks with you for sure. Yeah, I need to watch it. Anna Taylor-Joy stars in The Witch. She's in a lot of things. Do you want Kino Loy to be alive and return, or do you want to just be a mystery? I would personally be fine with either. Yeah, I would be fine with either as well, Fulcrum. I thought Kino Loy was one of the greatest, like limited side characters we've ever seen. Like I loved him. But that being said, I think it does work. We just never know what happens to him. And to some extent, I think him showing up would kind of reduce the kind of legendary air around this guy, because he just left me with such an, like, he left such an impact on me after that. Like I can't swim and then you never see him again. Like that'd be crazy. Geode. We don't talk about their kind. Well, sometimes we do, and we usually don't have pleasant things to say about them. Your takes are great. I'm curious, what's your least favorite Star Wars movie? Thank you, Connor. I appreciate that. I try to just, talk about like what I think about Star Wars. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna shill for Disney, and I'm not gonna say that everything Disney does is bad. Like I think either one of those stances is harmful, because ultimately I love talking Star Wars, and I love talking about Star Wars with people, even if we agree or disagree. It's just so much fun. But to answer your question, my favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. I know it's really basic, but it's a basic opinion, but I love that movie. I watch it every Christmas Eve, because You may be wondering what I mean, A, it's Hoth. Hoth, there's snow on Hoth. It's very Christmassy. But B, growing up, my family had this Christmas ornament on the tree where it was basically Darth Vader on Bespin, like in the carbonite chamber. And you'd push the button and it would be the line, "The Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you're not a Jedi yet." And you'd have his breathing, and it was epic. I love that ornament. And every morning when the timer would turn the tree on, all the electronic ornaments would play, and you'd hear that one every morning. And so it just reminds me of like my childhood, and so there's a lot of nostalgia wrapped up there, even though I was not alive in the 80s. So it reminds me of the childhood specifically because of the ornament. But it's my favorite movie. I think it's probably has the best writing. It's probably in terms of quality the best Star Wars movie. Followed by Revenge of the Sith. I love Revenge of the Sith as well. It's probably my second. And my least favorite is actually Rise of Skywalker. I think that movie was a clusterfuck, and I think that it should have like I don't like The Last Jedi either, and I think that The Rise of Skywalker, the worst thing it did was try to pivot back from The Last Jedi because it just made the whole trilogy irredeemable. Um, because at least if it just continued on with what Ryan Johnson had set up, it would feel more cohesive. At least like two of the three movies would feel cohesive, whereas it was super weird to have The Force Awakens set something up, The Last Jedi completely undo it and take it in a new direction, and then The Rise of Skywalker undo the undoing and then take it in the original direction as the first one. It just felt super like whiplash, and I didn't like that. And I honestly, that movie was there's just so much shit in that movie. It was just crammed, too jam packed with action. Nothing made sense. I hate the force heal. Like I just hate that movie. I hate that movie so much. So that answers your question. That is my least favorite. I do believe he learned how to swing, and he settled down with a nice partner. I don't need to see it because it exists in my mind. Swim. Hopefully. I'd rather say Kino Loy stay a mystery, but I trust Tony Gilroy. So if you wanted to bring him back, and bring it back would be for a reason and would have a payoff. That's true. Tony Gilroy has made very few mistakes in Star Wars. My God, it is a Christmas movie. Totally. The Empire is cool. It also has Endor. Uh, Endor is in Return of the Jedi, but yeah. I would also I would only trust Tony Gilroy to bring him back though, for sure. What's up, M Swim? I haven't seen you in here. What's up? Yeah, Rise of Skywalker was forgettable. I like it's not good when I want a movie to be over like 30 minutes in. And also probably the thing I hate most about the Rise of Skywalker that I somehow forgot to mention is I hate how it basically copies the Return of the Jedi ending, but does it worse in every single way. It just it was so bad. It pissed me off so much. My favorite Star Wars movie is the Ewok movie, and my least favorite is definitely Empire. It just didn't feel like Star Wars to me. God, I've missed you, Fulcrum. I've missed you on these live streams. Nothing is worse than Last Jedi for me. Yeah, it's Dark Empire on speed. All right, guys. So we're gonna do the emoji rain thing now. So prepare your emojis. I'm gonna reset the emoji rain, and I'm gonna turn myself into a circle because I am a square right now, but now I'm a circle. All right, prepare your emojis now. All right, do it. You heard the man. You may fire when ready. Oh wait, it's off. All right, it's on. Damn it! I'm sorry, Andrew. I failed you guys. It was off. I tried to turn it back on. You may fire when ready. Let's do that again. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Emoji rain. Emoji rain. Let's go. More. More. Give me all the emojis you have. Pretend I'm Alderaan and you're trying to blow me into little bitty Alderaan chunks. Come on, let's go. Unload it. Fire. Any emoji you can think of, drop it in the chat. Let's go. And while you're doing that, if you haven't already, don't forget to like the stream and subscribe. Smash that like button with emojis. Let's go, everybody. You're doing great. Bury me in freaking emojis. Oh, man. You guys are awesome. Anyway, I'm Zach. I will see you on the next one. and thank you for joining.